if you paid for UFC 275, you definitely got your money's worth, right? Even if you paid just to watch the main event. Jiří Procházka and Glover Teixeira is, for me, um, second, one of the top two, best ever light heavyweight fights, period, in the UFC or any division for that matter. Behind or right up there with, I should say, Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. That was a hell of a fight. Their first fight, I should say. A lot of interesting stuff in the main event. I'm going to kind of, come back to that later. Says a lot about Jiří that he was able to survive in Glover's world multiple times. I thought Glover was very tired. Mid-second round, even early second round. And I believe he came back and won the second round near the end. But that might be the round that Jiří finished on top. I mean, how the hell do you remember at this point? I do have some notes that I'm going to kind of refer to when I go and talk about the fight. But amazing night, if you ask me. A lot of fun to watch. I watched it. I watched the last three fights. I watched Joanna and Zhang. I watched Valentina and Santos, and then I watched the main event. Obviously, look, the Zhang and Joanna fight. It lived up to the first one, which was a classic. Probably one of the best women's mixed martial arts fights ever. I think that's kind of universally the standard or the opinion that's out there. Thought it was a real nice adjustment that Zhang made in the second round with the spinning back fist. And what I mean by that is Joanna was in a southpaw stance, and she led. Joanna led, and there was an exchange, and then Zhang I shouldn't say countered, but her spinning back fist was during the exchange as Joanna was breaking, not breaking, but as there was a slight lull in the exchange, and Joanna's hands were down. It's not like there was actively strikes being thrown. Put her down, face planted. Thankfully Joanna came too quick and recognized what happened and was awesome in her post-fight interview. Some people are not as respectful as she was. And I thought Joanna landed some strikes, but Weili was winning most of the fight clearly. Entertaining fight. Those two are always going to be a great matchup for each other. Clearly they're not going to fight again. It sounds like Joanna's retiring. It's the angle of the spinning back fist that works so good in the opposite stances. So Zhang was in a orthodox stance, right-handed, and Joanna was briefly in that southpaw stance, and I believe led that exchange, and then the angle was there. Now, Joanna left herself wide open some, but it's a natural opening, that's there, and kind of you as the orthodox fighter throwing the spinning back fist can kind of be protected throwing it. I'm not sure which strikes Joanna could have thrown other than protecting herself. It's a really cool way to deal with someone in an opposite stance in the middle of an exchange, so long as there's no, takedowns offered. Honestly. That was where I picked up watching the event, to be honest with you. As an aside, I thought Cormier sounded really weird in the post-fight interview. Sounded like he was repeating lines, like he was reading out something that he was hearing in his ear, and I'm quite sure that they do that sometimes. But generally, he is so professional and so good, when he's holding a mic or when he's being interviewed or when he's talking after a fight. He's just so professional and so classic and genuine when he's commentating, coaching, interviewing a fighter. I thought it sounded really weird interviewing after that. His interview after that fight, it sounded like he was being told what to ask. I'm not sure if the translation piece of it, with Zhang was part of it, and Joanna, they both sounded a little bit forced or a little bit different from what I would come to expect from him. All right, the next fight. Look, I don't know what Bisping was watching. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Santos did a nice job. The first round was difficult to score. Santos had the last 130 with back control and the body locks. He was trying to threaten with a rear naked choke. I thought it was a poor strategic decision by Shevchenko, who, I got to be honest with you, I think Shevchenko is a great fighter. And she clearly won the striking early on. She landed a counter, almost like a check hook, but it was over the shoulder. It was like a downward angle. The first time Santos tried to lead, Santos had a leg kick checked hard about a minute later, and then Shevchenko was able to lead once in an exchange, and I thought from then on, for the rest of the fight, Santos had nothing on the feet. I think she did literally zero on the feet. other than maybe a 1 minute stretch of the third round where it looked like Shevchenko was trying to counter, if our memory serves. Santos did nothing on the ground there in the first round, and was even stood up. I believe the stand up was in round one. Maybe it was in round two, but I had it 1-1 through 2 rounds. I just don't know what the hell Bisping was watching. I don't know how you give Santos some of these rounds just because there's a takedown and she's on the ground for 1:30 or 2 minutes and doing nothing, not landing strikes, not advancing position. And I'm generalizing to a certain extent because she certainly did threaten with one submission attempt and maybe two during the course of the overall fight. Okay, I just thought Bisping was assuming it was 2-0 for hyperbole's sake, to be honest with you. And I thought DC was trying to bring him back to reality 2 or 3 times. Cormier, I thought, was trying to reference, hey, this could be 1-1. Social media scoring is calling it 1-1. Now, Santos did nothing on the ground, in my opinion, until there was a serious threat with the rear naked with about a minute left in the third round. So, if you wanted to give her round 1, fine. Me personally, I gave her round 1, but I thought it could very easily have been 10-10. I could, if someone scored round 1 for Shevchenko, fine with me too. I'm not a fan of what Santos. I'm a fan of how Santos fought. She deserves a lot of respect, especially after dealing with the swollen eye and right cheek and fighting through it. So good for her. She's a great fighter and she'll be back. Like she said, she's 19-2. She's got a bright future, hopefully. But I didn't think she did anything on the ground at all until maybe a minute left in the third round. So threatening with the rear naked, give her round 3. Cool, fine with me. And so I just don't know how you're saying it's 3-0 at that point. I just don't get it. Bisping's good for some smart-ass comments, don't get me wrong. And he has moments of being brilliant. And he has fights where he's brilliant. But he was way off base and not recognizing any of the damage that was being done on the feet by Shevchenko. And then when they're on the ground, even if she's on her back, 3 times she was able to get that right knee like up under Santos's chin and was able to land a hard right. I mean, a very hard, surprisingly hard for being off her back. I had it 2-1 Santos after 3. And again, I generally award 10-10 rounds more than other people. So if you were to allow me to score around 10-10, because I know that's apparently not encouraged as a judge, I would have it 1-1-1, and then Shevchenko by a blowout in round 4 and then round 5. Absolute wipeout. Took it to her. I'd say she touched Santos with hard shots 6, 8, 10 times in round 4. Overall, hit her about 18, 20 times. I just didn't see it from Santos at all. I didn't see the skill on the feet at all. They talked about her power pre-fight. Didn't see it. Now, there was a grappling edge. There was a grappling situation with about, I believe, 2 minutes and 30 seconds or maybe 3 minutes left of round 5. I thought Shevchenko was winning the stand-up in the first minute and a half, whatever the situation was. Santos gets a takedown, I believe, and has like 40 seconds of control. Maybe I'm confusing my my rounds, but in any case, Shevchenko gets a takedown and actually lands strikes from on top. Actually tries to pass guard, which she did twice. And then I believe Santos was able to recover guard. So and Bisping shuts down. Like commentary-wise, the last 2:30 or so, Shevchenko's on top and is working. Not that she's landing a ton of shots. And Bisping shuts down with his analysis. It was so obvious to me that he had something for Santos to win this fight. And he said nothing. DC had to, and then Cormier had to pick it up. I thought Cormier was trying to talk more early in the fight, and Bisping kept interrupting, so Cormier kind of stepped back and let him do so. Shevchenko gets her takedown in the last 2:30 of round 5, and Bisping literally shuts down, takes his ball and goes home. It was hilarious to me. And I'm generally a fan of Bisping. Look, I follow him on Twitter. I like him. I appreciate his honesty, but he was awful, and he was biased as shit in this fight. Cormier did a much better job, and I would have much rather listened to... I think Rogan is real consistent with what he gives you, and I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan too, and he's consistent with what he gives you. He's going to give you a whole bunch of doubles and maybe a triple and a home run every now and then. It seems to me like Bisping is trying to hit a home run often and sometimes swings and misses. Santos got tooled on the feet. The difference in speed, accuracy, and skill was huge, and it looks like the judges got it right. The judges got it right. 49-46, 48-47 Valentina. I don't know what the judge was watching who had it 48-47 Santos. I don't know what 3 rounds you give her. Okay, I can understand if you want to say that she won 2 rounds. Fine. I will not argue with you there. What's the 3rd round that you give her? Because that's what it is. It's a gift. There's nothing she did. She did 0 damage. None. Before the clash of heads. I'm talking about Santos. Before the clash of heads, what damage had she done? None. I thought this was an easy fight to score if you had the commentary turned off, or like me, you were able to ignore them and just watch the fight as it unfolds. If they fight a second time, Valentina beats her by an even wider margin, probably a finish. Santos was classy and seemed really cool in her post-fight interview. I'm trying to move through this quickly because I recognize that if people are, coming here for any analysis, they're obviously going to talk about one of the greatest light heavyweight fights ever. One of the greatest fights ever, especially for bigger guys. You expect, even from like high school wrestling on up, you expect that once the bigger guy's on top in high school wrestling, there's going to be a pin. Heavyweight, boxing. Once a big guy lands, that's it. And I even typed, like, this is going to end early. We know that for sure. And then there's just pure craziness. Round 1 was amazing. It was awful. It was fun as hell to watch. I thought there was a lot of tactical mistakes by Jiří, who's got a lot of talent. I thought Glover did a great job. Looked like he was in it. He was in his position to win. I think he got side control. They got a takedown about a minute 20 in to the first round. Side control after about a minute later, and then 30 seconds later, Jiří spins out. Like, holy shit! He gets out of there. And first round, Jiří, I believe, did damage in the end. So it's like Glover's formula of getting hurt early in the first round and then coming back to win in the second round. You could say, if you were rooting for Glover, if you're a fan of his, which I am, but you could say if you were a little bit skewed or slanted, like, hey, Glover's formula, he didn't take much damage, but really, if round 1 is another 10 seconds longer, Jiří is landing those bombs on him, fight might have been over. I mean, it really might have been over, but it could have been over with Glover getting dominant position. As crazy as round 1 was, I thought round 2 was even better. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. I thought round 2 was an all-time crazy round. Jiří was pissed off. He was hurting him. Had him up against the fence, and for a moment it looked like Jones Glover from way back. And I was actually at that fight live, at that event live. And Jones, if you remember, he had Glover up against the fence like 6 or 8 times in that fight and was just dealing it to him. And Jones, as an aside, was imitating multiple fighters in that fight. And I don't have time to go over it in this video, but he imitated at least 3 high-level guys and the way that they strike. He was basically showboating on Glover back then. Round 2, I thought Glover was exhausted and was a punching bag about 2 minutes into round 3. Round 2. I thought he was a punching bag. And I even typed it, punching bag. And then somehow Jiří lets him escape. Glover gets him down and threatens again. I had it 2018 Glover, but I wasn't even trying to score him, to be honest with you. I thought there was a real lack of awareness. On Jiří's part. He's winning the stand-up early in round 2. And I just feel like, again, using my home run baseball reference, I feel like he's going for a home run instead of, like, he was like hitting doubles. He was landing some really unique strikes, and it's fun to watch, and it works. And don't get me wrong, there's, an incredible amount of talent for him, and it's working. I do think, however, that there is some tactical mistakes that maybe are inherent in the way that he fights. Maybe it's the switching stances, moving his hands. It's very bright and brilliant what he does. I think moving his head closer towards the opponent than his hips are, making it seem like he's closer than he really is. Glover or anyone goes to throw a strike, a typical strike with their hands, and he's able to pull back because he's intentionally got his chin and head another 4 to 5 inches closer to his opponent than normal. So he's creating the illusion that he's closer to the opponent than he actually is. I thought round 2 was amazing, and I thought round 3 was as well. I thought that the body shots, if I had my rounds right, I thought the body shots of Jiří really changed round 3. I thought that those body shots got Glover's attention in a way that the headshots just don't. And you know, Glover has his striking defense is really bad, but he's exceptional at so many other things. I feel bad criticizing him. Like he's a great fighter, a wonderful story. You know, I think he's been fighting professionally since 2002 or something. He was one of Chuck Liddell's training partners, I believe, when Chuck was the champion. That's how long he's been around. That's insane. I thought Jiří, the body shots were brilliant. I thought his striking got worse near the end of round 3. I'm talking about Jiří. And then round 4 was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I thought that Glover got a takedown early in round 4, maybe a minute and 20 in. That's typically when a grappler is going to go for the takedown, sometime around there, after a minute and 15 of the striking not working for them. And then Jiří reversed him. And then I thought Glover got on top again, and then I thought Jiří reversed him again. Shocking how many times Jiří was able to reverse positions. They were both tired as shit. I thought Glover had 2 chances to get him out of there in round 4, and I don't remember the positions, but what I wrote was this. How is it possible that Jiří's grappling is getting better as the fight goes on? It was almost like he recognized, okay, I'm able to get out of these positions, certain positions. He was mounted 3 times that I remember. Glover had like that half guard postured up position twice that I recall, landing bombs. Jiří's an amazing fighter. 29 years old, so he's a little older to be making some of the tactical mistakes that he made, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way towards Glover, nor do I mean in a disrespectful way towards Jiří, but against certain light heavyweight champions, he would have paid the price for those tactical mistakes. DC, John Jones among them. Even against some other guys, I think he would have paid the price. Glover was unable to do so, but then round 5 happened, and man, the beginning of round 5, even before round 5, Glover's looking across the cage. He looked happy. He's like smiling in a different way, like he's happy. And Glover striking suddenly, it was like they exchanged powers. They exchanged skill sets. Glover beat the shit out of him in the 5th round. And Glover's patented overhand right, left hook. That's literally all he throws. Kept landing. And a couple of times he landed just the left hook as like a check hook kind of. Jiří's striking was non-existent. I thought in round 5, it looked like he was really bad. Now, he said post-fight that he hurt his hand, so you know there's something to be said there, and you should believe him. We should believe him after a fight like that. Unbelievable that Glover somehow in round 5 becomes the better striker. They end up on the ground, and Jiří subs him in the most weird, unusual 1998 UFC fight way. No hooks in. Doesn't have the back. Well, he does have the back, but in a traditional sense. And, you know, Glover looks like he's so exhausted, there's just no way for him to get out of it. From the camera angle that we had watching it live, you don't see Glover tapping, but he clearly tapped. Shocking how great this fight was. I don't think any of us was expecting this type of war. And I think all of us, definitely me, I need to go back and rewatch it. I need to go back and rewatch what we were blessed with because it was an amazing fight. You know, they'll never fight again because Glover's 42. So he's probably done. I think that's what DC was setting him up for in the post-fight interview. You know, giving him the opportunity. Glover definitely won the crowd and could have had that moment there, but said, hey, I didn't look bad for a 42-year-old. So he's going to stick around and do it. They both have some real limitations. Glover, the striking defense. Certainly people hit him a lot, and then they try to finish him, and that's where they get in trouble. Dan Hardy did a pre-fight breakdown. If you're not watching Dan Hardy's pre-fight breakdowns, like they are shockingly good. Dan Hardy is there are MMA commentators, people who do film studies. There is one Dan Hardy. He is the best by far, if you ask me. Jiří, the tactical decisions that he made are very similar to what other people do with Glover, whereby they hurt him or they are touching him multiple times, and they think, I'm going to go from, you know, there's point A, point B, point C, you know, on up phonetically to point F, which is, you know, the finish. And some guys go point A, B, C, I'm going to jump to F. I thought Jiří was point A, a little bit of point B, I'm going to point F. Like, literally, I'm going to finish you on the feet. And I thought those were the tactical. He would be winning on the feet early, pushing Glover back to the cage, And instead of just bludgeoning him, with multiple shots because of the speed advantage, reach advantage, the variety of strikes that he offers from multiple stances, I felt like he would go for a big strike, put himself in bad position, and get taken down. But man, how cool is that dude? Jiří says it was a war. I think his quote was, "It was a true war, and I like that." There's a different type of fighter. Fighters are different. Boxers or MMA guys. No question about it. They all are. There is something different about the highest of the food chain MMA fighters in the world that is even a little different than the highest boxers there are. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I think it's the completeness of their training in terms of ground game, striking, grappling while you're standing, defensive jiu-jitsu, offensive grappling. To be in there for 5 rounds with Glover Teixeira and be on your back multiple times and not get subbed, there is no one better on top in the light heavyweight division than Glover Teixeira in 2022. Cormier on top of you, I would offer is at 205. Cormier on top of you for 5 rounds, he's going to really, really hurt you. Really hurt you. Unless you're a jiu-jitsu savant like Anderson Silva and you know how to defend yourself and not take much damage. A lot to say about Jiří. Probably not saying it well here. I wanted to keep this under 20 minutes. We're at 21 now. Hope you guys appreciate it. I do not have a mixed martial arts background. I have said that many times. Don't have a striking or grappling background. Just someone who observes the fights and has had the pleasure and the blessing to be able to go to a lot of fights live. This one is one I would have liked to have been at. Obviously Shevchenko and Santos was a wonderful exhibition of high-level, women's mixed martial arts. Joanna and Zhang was a great fight and a crazy finish. And this one, who would have expected a sub with 28 seconds left by Jiří? Apparently he was losing on 2 cards. I guess some of these rounds you have to score for Glover. I didn't really even score them. I don't know that I have him score. I scored the first 2 for Glover, so 2018. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys checking out the video, man. I would like to tighten up some of these. Didn't have the time to really do any preview videos for these. Again, if you're not checking out Dan Hardy's previews, you should. There are a lot of tactical things that he identified that happened in this fight. One of the things that Jiří stopped doing, I thought, as the fight moved on, was being versatile. He stopped his striking approach became more limited or more focused on certain things. Maybe that was because of the left hand injury, whatever. And the adjustment to throw body shots are underrated in mixed martial arts. They really are. Body shots are really underrated, underutilized in a lot of ways. And a lot of times body shots are used late in fights. Look at Stipe Miocic, his win over Daniel Cormier in their first rematch, their second fight. This fight here, the body shots in the 3rd round, I thought changed the course of the fight. Well, Glover admitted that they did. Glover was initially talking about his weight cut being bad, and then he said, "No, shit, I'm not gonna use that as an excuse with this guy. This was too great of a fight. Those body shots took it out of me." Body shots are underutilized, I believe. Lovely fight. A whole hell of a lot of fun to watch. I don't have UFC Fight Pass, but I'm thinking about getting it because this would have been one to watch. And I'm thinking about maybe doing some previews of certain fights when I'm able to take some time away from Ravens and NFL coverage. Hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you guys were able to watch the fights. If you were not, and you watched this little commentary review video that I do, let me know what you think in the comments section of the fight and what you think of some of my thoughts. I would love to see these guys fight without making the tactical mistakes they both made. Glover, I think, going for the sub when he was really hurting Jiří on the feet in round 5, I thought was bad. I think it was round 5. And Bisbin pointed that out. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section. Appreciate y'all if checking out the MMA content. I know it's wildly different than my NFL content, which is structured and I show film, but of course you can't do that in these situations. Appreciate you guys checking the video out.